You ever wondered about what the real difference is between a democratic person and someone who doesn't like democracies? Let's see. Good afternoon and welcome back to the show. More woke communism, part 3 of my series on how to recognise and fight the woke communist spies and subversion, because that's effectively what this is. Now, I got called a conspiracy theorist by one of the commenters. Fine, if that's what you think, but I urge you to stick with the series. If you think I'm a conspiracy theorist, I guarantee you if you watch to the end of the series you will change your mind, and we shall have a conversation on that last video in the comments. So please, stick around my friend and we'll get to the truth. So, I completely forgot I have an old book, a pre-war book called The Soviet Secret Police by S. Wallin and S. and R. Schlusser. Now, this book is a personal account from a spy who escaped communism in Russia and travelled to America and finally to Britain to work for the Secret Service here. So this book is his bullet list account of how the secret police worked and the effect they had on Russian society and the eventual crumbling of Russian society. So, by the way, you should all go and buy this book. You know, The Secret Soviet Police, that's what it looks like. Go and get it off Amazon, or Amazon might not sell it. Go and look for it in a bookstore. This is amazing stuff to read. So anyway, what I wanted to talk to you about is the similarities between the way our government is currently arranged and the way that Soviet, I don't even want to call it government, the way that the Soviet regime was arranged. So let me start with our government here. We have a three-party system. We have Conservatives as blue, we have Labour, which is red, and we have the Liberals, which is like all the other little splinter groups, you know, the Greens, the Lib Dems, all these kind of people. So we've now got David Cameron back in the government, and he used to be the Prime Minister. And we know the way he became Prime Minister was he grabbed power after a hung Parliament. He didn't receive enough votes to get voted in, and neither did Nick Clegg, the guy that he shared the power with. So what happened? Those two formed a coalition government. Remember those? A coalition government. And then they ran the referenda. Do we want to remain in Europe or not? The Brexit referendum. We voted out. We didn't want to be part of the European group of countries in that way. We wanted to have a split between them and us and remain as an independent country. And this wasn't what he wanted. So he resigned. Rather than be a Prime Minister like he promised us, when he made his speech at number 10 on his day 1, rather than take the instruction of the people, the democratic instruction of people power that we gave him, and put it into place as his job, no, he quit. He took all his stuff and his family and he fucked off to China, and he went to go and work for the Chinese government. So that on its own tells you something, but that's exactly what happened in Soviet Russia. They got people's agreement through these kind of methods. If they had a vote and people weren't agreeing with the thing that happened, they just got rid of them. If a certain politician or a certain commercial person wouldn't play ball with them and then wouldn't be manipulated or forced or bullied into compliance, they would just get rid of them. And that's what we're seeing here. Braverman didn't agree, they got rid of her. Liz Truss didn't agree, they got rid of her. Ian Duncan Smith from a long time ago, they got rid of him. I could name you 1,000 people in the government who they got rid of, from the smallest backbenchers to the actual Prime Minister. Liz Truss was Prime Minister for like 10 minutes. That's what we're dealing with here. So how do we fight that? Well, we remember why it is they want to separate us into individuals and then take our individual power away from us. And while they do that, they're going to be winding us up, distracting us with these silly little fights and lies, so that we're looking away. And while we're looking away, our back is facing them. And as we know, communists only attack the back. So, in conclusion, we need to be smart about this. We need to prepare ourselves for the back attack that we're going to get. We all need to be aware that this horror story, which is actually real, the Soviet Secret Police expose book, this is coming to us. And we will vote for it ourselves. And if we don't, we'll get a hung parliament and a coalition government, just like we did before. And guess who the coalition's going to be? It's going to be Labour and it's going to be the Conservative Party, because they are both controlled, captured opposition. They are the socialist commies, as far as I'm concerned. I don't trust any of those people. I mean, look at the government we've got. They're not trustworthy. They don't follow through with their promises at all. So what we need to do is be strong, but we need to be united in our cause. Do not fight your neighbours, even if they fight you, because they're not doing it out of their own volition. They're being manipulated and lied to and bullied and forced into this woke politic. And then they're starting to feel like the politic is their life. They have no power in their life without the politic. So they wear the politic on their shirts. They wear the politic as their hair. They drive the politic through with everything they say, and they become the politic. That's exactly what communism is. And we can see that if we look at China, Russia, North Korea, Bolivia, Argentina, these places. So let's not become those. Remember, we can win this, guys. I promise you, we can win this. But what we need to do is stick together as a group, a majority of agreeing Democrats. So that doesn't mean me and my neighbour have to be best buds or like each other. We can hate each other if we want. But when it comes down to the politics, electing and choosing the leaders of this country going forward, people like him and people like me need to find some grounds to agree. Otherwise, we're just going to be turned out as communist slaves, wound up at the back with a key and pushed off to go to war with each other. And the whole reason is because when we are weak and divided and we have no togetherness, our democracy has no togetherness. And when it has no togetherness, whoop, oh, there's one person I took off you. Whoop, there's another person I took off you. Whoop, there's a third person I took off you. That's what they're doing. And they've been doing it a long time, so you can bet your bottom dollar, whoop, that's the 471st person. Whoop, that's the 472nd person. It's only a matter of time. If we continually leave our government in tatters and leave it weak and powerless like we have, or if we get a hung parliament and they take power with a coalition, leadership, it's all the same thing. So what we need to do is not vote Labour, not vote Conservative, and not vote for the Greens or Lib Dems or anything like that. We need to all agree which one of these parties, these new political parties, we're going to go for, and we need to en masse majority vote for that party and get them in power, and then make sure that they stick to the promises that they made. That's been our mistake in the past, ladies, gents and Pikachus. We elect whoever we're going to elect and we go, cool, done, and we bugger off and forget about it. This time there has to be accountability, there has to be responsibility, there has to be morality, there has to be results. So you and him and me, whatever our differences, we need to come together, we need to stick together as a majority, a political majority with power, and we need to direct and push the government into the things that we as the people want and need. And then democracy will not only be preserved, but it will progress. And our economy will go back up to where it should be, and we can get rid of these traitorous, lying, thieving, neo-communist dogs and rats out of our country and out of our government. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that and you really thought about this. We can do this. We have the power currently in the democracy, you and I. But only if we stick together, and not in a way that the communists do when they say solidarity. We're not sticking together for the sake of a brand. We have our own brand. You have your own brand. I have my own brand. And together, our brands as a majority politic, we can push these guys out of our government and take back control for the good, normal, moral British person. And that's what we're going to do. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. They are such sneaks. Solidarity is the opposite of what it sounds like. But we need to have unity. We need to have togetherness, and we need to trust ourselves and our neighbours and our countrymen. And we'll win. We will win. See you next time.